Okay, good morning. Welcome back to another session on the training tools or the writing tools of Kurzweil, reading tools, study tools, all the different tools that are available within Kurzweil. This is a training series offered through Saddleback College. My name is Mike Sauter. I'm the alternate media specialist. Thank you for joining us today. This meeting is being recorded, and it is also being captioned as well. So you can turn on the captions by clicking on the CC icon at the bottom to turn them on. If you do have any questions throughout the session, you can use the Q&A box located at the bottom to post a question to me. And I will stop occasionally to see if there are any questions, and we can answer them as we go. But feel free to put them in as soon as you think about them so that you don't forget them. Today's session is, again, back with Kurzweil. And this time we will be looking into the different writing tools with Kurzweil. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. The different writing tools with Kurzweil. Kurzweil has a number of different writing tools that are now built into its program. And now we are still using the online version of Kurzweil. These are all tools that are available when you log into your online account of Kurzweil. And I'm going to show you where you can find them and how to use them today. The areas that we are going to be covering today will be, we'll start with the basics of opening new documents, and we will explore the different types of documents that you can create, because there are a number of different types of documents. We're going to go into a couple of them and how to use them. We will look at the specific writing tools that are also built into Kurzweil, things like the spell check and the font options, and then also word prediction, which is pretty neat. And then finally, we will go into the voice dictation. That's right, Kurzweil has voice dictation available. And that means you can literally speak and it will type what you're speaking. So the first thing we're going to do is go into Kurzweil and talk about the opening new documents. Okay. So let's do just that. So let's start first back at the beginning. All right, we are logging into Kurzweil using the online program. So we just go to kurzweil3000.com and we log in using the user account that is provided to you from me. And once we log in, we are brought to our main universal library screen, where we can find all of our books that we're reading, as well as any particular files that we may have. So we're going to navigate to our username at the top and under the private folder, which is where we usually find our textbooks. Right. Now, inside the private folder, I know I talked about this last time, but you can create your own folders in here to help keep things organized. And that's what I've done down here with this folder called Essays. So this is a folder that I created simply by right-clicking on the private folder. I get an option for Add Folder. And so you just click that and give it a name, and then you've created a new folder. Now you can create folders within folders as well to keep things really organized. Okay, So once I click into the folder that I am going to be using, let's say you created a new folder just for your writing documents. What you now see available to you is they're no longer grayed out. Is this icon over here on the right called Write. Now, what this means is if I hover over the drop down, I can see the different types of writing documents that are available to me. And you can read there that the first one is Brainstorm. Brainstorm is a type of document that allows you to visualize your ideas in a pictorial format. So instead of writing out in an outline form or just in kind of a free form document, Brainstorm allows you to apply a little bit of visual context to your ideas. So this is what you would use as you're formulating your essay and you're formulating your ideas around your essay, like what to write about. It is a great tool for people that sometimes have a hard time starting an essay, which is never easy. But you know, we know what our topic is, or we know what we think we're going to be writing about, and so you can start to build your ideas and the relationship between your ideas using Brainstorm. The next one is the outline. So an outline is your more traditional way of formulating your ideas in a linear fashion where you've got, and it gives you, the outline gives you tools so that you can have your main topic and your subject topics and the details within, typically using the Roman numeral or the capital letter A and B and C and so forth. New draft, which is the third one down, is a basic writing document. So basically a Word document, an online Word doc, or a Google Doc of sorts. And that is just called new draft. And then the last one is new column notes file, which we're not going to touch on the column notes in this training, but a column notes is Kurzweil gives you columns that allows you to organize ideas as well. We are going to go into the Brainstorm first. Okay. And I have created one ahead of time so that we can give you a real quick overview of it. But I created one called Essay Ideas because that's really what that Brainstorm is used for. And you can see I've started here. Now, what the Brainstorm gives you are these graphics, right? The big circle in the middle is my main topic, Revolutionary War. And then I've added two areas that relate to Revolutionary War. And you can see, like in my brain, there were two sides to this war. So I could put the English colony on one side and the English monarchy on the other side. And so I can keep those two things separate in my brain and also visually in my Brainstorm here. And so the way Brainstorm works is we have all of these icons on the right that allow you to draw these shapes. And they give you different styles of shapes, ovals or circles, squares, rounded squares, and triangles. And it doesn't really matter which shape you use for your ideas. You can use all the same shapes, or you can actually change the shape as you go down in description levels, right? So in this particular example, we have the main topic is a circle, and then the subtopics below that I have as squares. And so if I go below that one more level, I can change the shape. So let's do that. Let's actually add a diamond. And so if I'm over here under the English colonies, I can just click in that area, and notice I can move it around anywhere that I want. Now, English colonies what I want to put here are just a couple of ideas that I have about the English colonies. One idea is I know that I have loyalists. And the loyalists are, the colonists that still wanted to be part of the English monarchy. And then I actually have the revolution. Can't spell today. Revolutionists on that side. So there's my two new ideas. And now what I want to do is I want to link these to the topic above, right? The English colony topic. And so I can use the linking tool to link the idea. And so I start with English colony and I'm going down from English colony to the loyalists. And the relationship is important that I go down to the revolutionists. So same thing for the other side. I can add some other thoughts that I have. Oops. Like the normal citizens. And then I can also add another. This is the companies, the shipping companies, and the companies that had interest, the traders that had interest in colonies. So again, I want to build that relationship. So I'm using the relationship link tool to go from top down. So now I'm starting to build my brainstorm, my idea map. And I can use this to add more and more detail, right? It's not, I don't have to write sentences. I don't have to come up with my thesis. I don't have to do any of those things. I can just come down with my ideas. And maybe my ideas are coming from all over the place. And so I can just add them here and there, and then I can slowly start to link them. Or maybe discard some of the ones that don't fit within my map. There are some tools that will help once you actually have things kind of all over the place. We can use this arrange tool, which will snap things nice and close together. You can also use the fill color. Let's see if we can use the fill color to change the color of each one of my shapes, which is kind of neat. You can also change the size of the font and the color of the font as well to help visualize the relationships. Okay. Now that we have our map here, I'm going to show you that you can still use some of the tools that you're more familiar with. So let's say for the English monarchy item, we wanted to add a little bit more description of what a monarchy is. Well, I can still use my dictionary tool. And with my dictionary tool, I can actually grab these definitions and use them. Right, I can copy and I can paste that into another shape. I may have to size my shape here to fit. Got a little wonky on me. There we go. And then again, maybe build that relationship there too. Okay, So that built-in dictionary is still available. Built-in thesaurus is still available. Over here on the left, we have a spell check. So you can run the spell check to make sure that everything is spelled correctly in your outline. Looks like I did a pretty good job there. Wonderful. Now, I want to show you something that is really, really fun. Now that we have our brainstorm filled in. Up here on the top right, there's an icon that's labeled as views. And what this allows me to do is quickly change the view of my document. So if I select outline view, because brainstorm's already colored because that's what we are now, but if I select outline view, this finds the relationships that I've created, the links, and it gives me the outline, that linear outline, where we've got the main topic, the Revolutionary War, English colony, and the two items under it, English monarchy, and the two items, the three items that are underneath that. So now I can see linearly where my ideas fit and how they match up. Now, can you add things in here? Yes, you can. So this is the definition. I can add things like average person didn't care too much. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just going to add that. Revolutionists, right? I can say things like the revolutionists, Boston massacre. Now look what happens when I snap back to my brainstorm. The text that I've added, it's added into, right? Pretty neat feature using the snap to outline view. There's also a snap to split screen view, which gives me a shot of writing my first draft using my outline on the left, and now I have a space to write out my draft. Well, looks like we have a question. The question is, wow, those are great tools. I like changing colors and fonts to help me remember. Definition tool is going to be my favorite. I love the outline tool. Yeah, the outline tool is wonderful. Thank you for that comment. Appreciate that. So let's snap back to brainstorm. So that's a real quick overview of the brainstorm tool. I think it has a lot of value, especially as we're trying to write our papers, we're trying to put our thoughts down clearly. I mean, how many times I've had it happen where I've gotten a paper back and the notes on top said it just didn't flow. It was missing things. Well, this will allow me to see visually what I'm thinking and then be able to write to that. Now, just like any document, we want to make sure we save our documents. So I'm just going to click save. It's going to save back to the location that I opened it at. Okay. And then let's snap back to our universal library. Okay, let's see, how are we doing? Oh, good. Writing tools. We're going to move on to our next two topics is the writing tools that are built into the draft document. So we just went over the document for word prediction. Now let's go and change to the document, the regular draft document. So I'm back in my Universal Library. I am back in my folder. I am back in my essays folder that I created. And now I am back to the drop-down right icon. And I am going to create a new draft. This is a blank Word document. And so when I click new draft, it asks me for a name. So I am going to type Revolutionary War. Well, Kurzweil is real finicky about spaces, so it will warn me that it cannot take spaces, so I use underscores. Okay, and there I have my blank document. Nothing, no surprises there, right? Just a regular blank document. But here is this blank canvas for writing, and this allows you to start writing a draft. Maybe using the brainstorm or the outline, having that printed out right along with you, or having this on 2 screens. You can do that as well. You can open up multiple screens of Kurzweil so you can see your outline and then the draft. This, I'm just going to write a couple of sentences. Revolutionary. The American colonists. Oh, my fingers are not working. Okay. Looks like we have a quick question. There's a question about multiple screens. Is it only 2, or how many can you have? Well, remember, we are still within the Chrome browser. So you can open up a new Chrome browser window. So you have 2 windows and be logged into your Kurzweil account on both windows, and be able to see your, whatever, maybe the book that you're reading, and then the draft that you're writing or outline that you're using. So it is possible to have 2 screens open, even though you don't have 2 screens. Okay, so I'm just doing some free flow writing here. But what I want you to see is that the writing tools that are built into Kurzweil are pretty nice, right? I can do things that I would normally be able to do in, let's say, Word document. So I can take titles, and I can center my titles. I can use a series of different fonts and font sizes. And I can bold and I can underline, just like I would be able to do in other word processing documents. Okay. There is a series of tools that we can use as well. The first tool I'm going to run real quick is my spell checker. Now, the spell check tool is found on the left-hand side in that gear icon. And I just simply check the spell check, and boom, it pops up that I have some misspelled words. Now, the spell checker here is great because it'll show me what I spelled wrong. It'll ask me what I want to do, and it'll give me some suggestions. So I can ignore the fact that it's misspelled, maybe because it's a proper name or a name of somebody. Or I can come down here and I can take this suggestion. Oh yeah, that looks like the word that I really wanted to spell. But let me double check by listening to it.
Revolutionary.
That sounds
Revolutionary.
right. So I'm going to click revolutionary, and it's going to take that new word and put it in place. Notice it did drop my capital letter. I can fix that later. So here we have another word that I misspelled. Looks like my fingers were all over the place. I don't think I was trying to spell quaz. So I think I was trying to spell the word was. I'm going to click that. And then the last one here. I thought I spelled this one right. It sure looked right to me. Independence.
Independence.
So let me double check that though, that it's the right word. Right? Because I know I can take a word and I can look it up in my built-in dictionary just to make sure I'm using. Ooh, didn't have this whole word.
Independence. Noun. The state or quality of being independent. Archaic.
That's the right word that I'd like to use, yes. Wonderful. So those are some of the basic tools that we have built into the Word document or the blank document. One of the other tools is this tool called word prediction. Now this is pretty cool. Word prediction, if I open it up, it gives me a little box off to the right. And what word prediction does for me is it allows me to check that I'm using the right words. Notice I spelled independence wrong, but it sure looked right to me. With the use of word prediction on, I can actually see ahead of time. It predicts what I'm typing and gives me suggestions as I type. Now, let's give this a shot. So let me type out this sentence. So if I start typing, notice that I'm not really sure how to spell the rest of it, but it's predicting that I'm trying to either spell revolution or revolutionary. So I'm going to select revolutionary. This one always, by having nothing else show up, it's not predicting that I'm typing anything. This is a word that I always have trouble with. So I am just going to use the tool. Oh, again, it's not showing. Maybe I'm not spelling it correctly. English, good. Monarchy. America, American, Americans. Is it a kernel? Colony, colony. So using the word prediction, it can show me as I'm typing the words that it predicts that I'm trying to spell. It can be really helpful if you definitely want to get the right words down ahead of time, or you have a hard time with spelling, and that seems to slow your writing down because you're focused so heavily on how words are spelled, or if you're spelling them the right way. I think word prediction is a wonderful tool. And once I'm done using it, I can simply click the X and it will pop away. Okay. Any questions on word prediction? No? Okay. Wonderful. Well, let's go back to our, I forgot to make changes. Forgot to save them. Changes you made will not be saved. Oh, I want to cancel that. I want to make sure I save my changes, save my documents. There we go. And then let's see what our final topic is today is voice dictation. And so let's go into our voice dictation tool. Let's go back out to the Universal Library. And let's start with a new document. Now let's start with a new draft again. And we're going to name it voice dictation. So we get a new document that is opened up. And this again is just a regular blank document. Now, voice dictation is the ability for you to basically speak and type at the same time. The tool is found at the top of the toolbar, and this little speech bubble, if we hover over it for a second, it will show speech to text. So let me turn it on. It may ask that your microphone be turned on, or if it can use your microphone. And then it will literally type what you talk. I mean, it will do a really good job of capturing everything that you're saying. But notice it is taking some time to write everything down. So the hardest thing to do when we start using voice dictation is to speak in a manner that it can capture the text. So what it's actually doing is it's processing what you're saying, and that computer is taking time to process what you're saying. And that's why you're not seeing it instantly show up. But if you notice, the pauses that I'm giving it allow it time to process it, and then it writes out what I've been saying. Notice though, what it is typing is just a free flow of text. There's no punctuation. There are no breaks in the sentences. There are no paragraphs. So all of those elements have to be added. And you can add them using voice commands, or you can add them using your mouse and your keyboard. Now, Kurzweil has a limited selection of voice commands, and I have been playing with it to see which voice commands really do work. And the good news is most of the punctuation voice commands work, and the other commands to start new paragraphs and things like that will work as well. So let's turn them off real quick. So with all that being said, voice commands, voice dictation. So the commands that, oh, we have a question popping up. The question is more of a statement, I will never write again. Wow, who needs punctuation anyway, right? Exactly. Yeah, and who knew it was sitting right there the whole time, this voice dictation. So let me show you what you can do using some of the voice commands that we have available to us. I haven't played with a lot of some of the formatting ones, but let's just go with the basics. And the basics that I'm going to use are punctuation, like period, commas, and question marks and exclamation points. There is a voice command for new line, so starting a new line, and there's a voice command for new paragraph. So let's see how those work. So let's go ahead and turn on the speech to text. The Revolutionary War. New paragraph. The Revolutionary War was a war that was fought between the English monarchy and the American colonists. Period. The war started in 1776, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Period. The war was fought entirely on American soil, throughout New England, and the South. Period. New paragraph. The war was the birth of the American nation. Period. Okay. So just using some voice commands like punctuation and new line and new paragraph, we've given our document a little bit more form. Now I can go through using my tools and I can start to build my essay. This was interesting. I'm surprised to see that the commas here were given a space, but up here in this second sentence, it was not. And I wonder if that was the small pause that I gave when I was speaking. But it did a really good job of capitalizing proper names. New England's capitalized, the South is capitalized, American colonists capitalized. I'm very impressed. Declaration of Independence is capitalized. Very impressed with its dictionary that it has and proper names. Oh, we have a good question. What if you don't know where a comma goes? Does it give you a suggestion? It's a good question. So commas and placement of commas is a grammar issue. And this does not have a grammar check. It has a spell check, but not grammar. So unfortunately, it wouldn't tell you, yeah, where do commas go is a common issue when we're writing. Like, where do my commas go and how do I know? Yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't have grammar check, but that is perhaps something that we can suggest to Kurzweil. In fact, I'm going to write it down. They're always asking for input. Yeah. And then we know with Kurzweil, we can always double check our writing by listening.
The Revolutionary War was a war that was fought between the English monarchy and the American colonists. The war started in 1776, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The war was fought entirely on American soil, throughout New England and the South. The war was the birth of the American nation.
So we can use the voice reading to listen to what we've written and be able to make corrections if we need to. Like, for instance, this first sentence, it looks like I have maybe a little redundancy in my use of the word war. So the Revolutionary War was a war, right? Obviously, it's a war. We called it a war. So I can come in here and I can take these out. So it doesn't sound so redundant. And by listening back to it.
The Revolutionary War was fought between the English monarchy and the American colonists.
I like that. Now, the voice dictation used along with the other tools like the spell checker can be really a nice pairing. The word prediction does not work with voice dictation, obviously. But so that is the voice dictation tool. Really simple tool, but you've just got to remember to use those voice commands for punctuation. And for the new line, which will just give you a new line, and new paragraph, which will give you this double-spaced paragraph mark. Okay. So what do I do now that I have my document? So now that I have my document, let's just cover, so we cover all the basics, the basis. I want to be able to use this document in my class, right? My Canvas class. So how do I get it out of Kurzweil? I will tell you one of the easiest ways to get it out of Kurzweil and bring it back down to your computer is by using the document options icon up at the top of the window. And if we come down here to the document options, we have a download format drop down where I can select the format that I want to download this at. So I do have Microsoft Word on my computer, so I'm going to download it as a Microsoft Word document. And this will change the formatting of the document into a Word document and start the download into your computer. And the wonderful thing there is you can just open it up on your computer. Give it a second to open up. And there we go. And there is my Word document that I was able to use my voice dictation in Kurzweil. I was able to use my outlines in Kurzweil, my brainstorm map, right, in Kurzweil, and write out my paper. And now I have it in a Word document. If I need to clean up any of the formatting issues, I can do that here. Things like double space, adding the right margins, saving it in the right format, and then uploading it into your Canvas class, which you should be very familiar with at this point. Okay, let's go back to our Kurzweil real quick. Make sure that we covered everything. And remember, that download option was found under the document icon on the top of the screen. I do have other options. I can download it as a PDF, which is a format that you can't really edit very easily. Plain text, rich text, and then KES is a Kurzweil format too. If you are running Kurzweil as a standalone program on your computer, you would download it as a Kurzweil. And the last one I just chose was to print. So I can print this out as well. Okay. Sure, I save everything. Let's go back to our Universal Library. There we have it. Okay. I have a great question. For the 3 sessions, where can I get them? These are things I will need a refresher course every now and again. Yes, I am building a library of trainings that I will make available on my website at saddleback.edu. And so the idea is to have all of these trainings. That's why I'm recording this one, have it recorded and captioned, and then available up on my website so that you can use them whenever you need them. I'm going to also add bookmarks to them as well so that you can jump to specific sections of the video. I am in the process of putting all that together, and I'm hope to have them all done throughout the summer so that it can be ready for the fall. So hopefully that answers your question. Well, that is everything that we wanted to cover today. I appreciate you joining in, and I hope that you are having a wonderful semester so far, and these new tools that you're using are giving you some added value. to your study time. And I hope that you have great success during your finals, which are quickly approaching. And as always, if you need any help, you can always reach out to me through email. Right now is the best way to get a hold of me, and that's at msauter, MSAUTER at saddleback.edu. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Have a good day.